let me take it first. So first I'll talk about there is a video series and then there is a campaign. They are actually in a way distinct from each other. So the video series is really content which incites the campaign, and the whole idea is that while our audience, our reader audience is young, it's fairly young, over 50% are between 20 and 29, and they are people who have taken the current city of Mumbai for granted. This is the way it is, so this is the way it is going to be, good or bad, ugly or beautiful, this is what Mumbai is. What they don't know is why it is what it is.
Or what it's become now.
What it's become, and why is there are reasons for it. There are building blocks that have happened, and there are people who made it happen the way it has happened. And I believe that if our reader is passionate about the city, then they will find it extremely absorbing to find out these things about the city of Bombay, right? And this video series is all about that. It kind of creates this whole network of information which piques the curiosity of our young reader to understand the city that he or she lives in. And then to find out more, of course, they have to read the Mumbai Mirror. So that's really what the campaign is about.
And Senthil, your viewpoint on this?
I think for the young readers of the Mumbai Mirror to know more about the city, we thought it should be a journey that you travel along with the readers of who have lived for more than almost 100 years. Like, for example, some of the people, Justin is 90 now, and even J.V. Pawar is close to 90. So all of them are octogenarians going towards 90. And if you hold the mirror up to their lives, to their journeys, I think that is what sort of excited me through. For me also, it was a journey while doing this project, where we discovered lots of insights, and this whole walk down memory lane from all the way from Bombay to Mumbai and back, through their lives and the parallel lives that actually they're parallel lives, because all these people have crossed through the same events. We found that an interesting story, and I think the young readers will find that interesting, because they've just seen Bombay for the last Mumbai for the last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. I mean, they've not gone beyond that. But if anybody had to hold a mirror up to the past and get a feel of the present and also find out what you can do about the future of the city, I think this is like a great journey that we take them on through these mirrors, the several mirrors that we've put out for them.
How did JWT get involved in it? And take us through this campaign then?
We actually worked in collaboration with the brand team, which is Sanjeev sir, Someli, and the editorial team, which is led by Minal. And we got the brief from them about creating a campaign for Mumbai Mirror, and that's how we sort of got into the process of creating something which could become as riveting as this. Initially it was not about just creating videos, but it was about creating some content which mirrored the city. And through the process, we with Minal, the editor's help, we identified who are these various mirrors, because people, I believe, are mirrors of the city, and unlike anything else. And in this case, we found the right instruments for us to sort of lean onto and discover different facts through the journey of Bombay to Mumbai.
Yes, absolutely. We will run it on our digital channels. These are digital films.
Not on
they're long format films, so they're not really
film.
amenable for television. But on the digital medium, yes, they will be proliferated.
And you're also doing a print version of it also?
It will be reflected in print, yes. You'll see some of the print work already here. And there will be a lot of work in print that will supplement and complement what the video series is all about.
Okay. How are you planning to promote the whole thing? Other than this, you're putting hoardings and stuff like that?
So there will be a little bit of that. There will be digital amplification to a very large extent, and there is going to be print amplification.
But I believe that this kind of content doesn't really need promotion. I think if it's riveting, and if you're talking, if you're talking about stories that have never been told, you're going to draw audiences automatically to it. And if you're a Mumbaiker today, or you've ever been a Bombay wala of the past,
once upon a time, yes,
both ends of the spectrum we've covered with this journey. So I think it should capture audience's imagination like never before.
You know, actually, honestly speaking, when you say that, it has a national appeal, and I say that because Bombay is a city of dreams for the rest of the country. And, you know, Bombay has been chronicled in many movies, and the fact is that people only see what they see in the movies, which is a certain dimension of it. What the video series does is actually unravel what has happened behind that eventuality.
You only see the glamour version on.
So there are building blocks to that eventuality, which I think is getting revealed through this video series, which is the fascinating part. And therefore, I think it will have a national appeal.
Okay.
And it is a journey of discovery, because even for me, you know, when we started out and we started interviewing these people, I discovered a lot more about the Bombay of the past and how Mumbai came about. For example, the fact that it was actually 7 islands.
Yes, true.
Came from a poem which Jerson told us when he sees his thing. That sort of made me really inquisitive, really curious to find out is this like the basis of it. And then we discovered a lot more about that. You know, from the 7 islands that actually land was reclaimed from the sea, and the dots were connected, and it became one island city. I mean that itself is epic. You know, the story of epic proportions across 300 years.
Absolutely.
So I'm saying that's a journey that I'm sure a lot more young people will find it. Young people will find a lot more, you know, curious things in these journeys for them to sort of go dig out and read the Mumbai Mirror more regularly to find the supplement part, like Sanjeev sir says. It was a collaboration between the editorial, the brand team, and the creative team, which is led by me. And I think all 3 partners had to come together and identify who these people are, because it's about people who are legends of Bombay. At the same time, they have to be mirrors of the journey from Bombay to Mumbai and back. So I think it was a team effort, and we identified 5 people. We have 7 islands, so we will continue. Hopefully, we'll have a second season where we'll have more people, more legends telling us more stories. Mumbai Mirror is...
So it's not a universal set by any stretch of imagination.
Okay. Yeah.
It is a part of that. It's a subset of possibly a large number of luminaries or stalwarts of the city. But the fact is that when the creative team, the brand team, and the editorial got together, well, they went through a list of names. Some were articulate, some were not articulate, some were conscious of what their lives have been, some were not so conscious. Because we were looking at people who had lived for a certain span of time, seen Bombay through a certain time, and therefore that set is reasonably limited. Within that, we had to pick and
some would be more forthcoming in saying what their life went through, and some were not.
And also, I think it was important, the editor, Minal, played a big role in making sure that the 5 people that we chose finally were of 5 different, sections of from career-wise, from character-wise, genre-wise. So you had social impact, you had cultural icons, you had a super cop, and you had a Dalit Panther and an architect who built Navi Mumbai. So I think somewhere the spectrum was complete. About if you're talking about a changing city, I mean, and these are these mirrors of change that So I think we've got the right 5 mirrors to start with, and I'm sure we can go to many more. Waiting to see how young people absorb this campaign and what happens. And once we study the impact together, if there is merit, I believe we should be doing more stories like this. Yeah, because it's content finally.
True. Sanjeev, this is for you. How does the Mumbai Mirror campaign connect with the earlier I Am Mumbai campaign?
No, they are very different. So, the I Am Mumbai campaign was a campaign which shook the conscience of the people living in Mumbai and said, hey, you need to stand up and be counted, and let's make sure the city becomes better. So I Am Mumbai was about saying, this is
my city.
This is my city, and if there's something wrong with it, I'm going to raise my voice against it. What we are doing now, we are celebrating the good of Bombay, and we'll stand up against what is bad in Bombay. So it is now more multidimensional as a stance that Mumbai Mirror as a brand is taking, and therefore there is a shift from I Am Mumbai to Mumbai Mirrored. Mumbai Mirrored will therefore be more of a celebration of the city, but it also throws up in stark relief what can be improved, what has gone wrong in the past, what can be done better in the future, all those questions will naturally come alive once people start absorbing the content, etc. And I think that's where we are headed with this. Mirror has a huge amount of involved readers. So they do react, they do respond, they do interact. And that's the difference in my mind between Mumbai Mirror and any other publication, that people here are actually passionate readers. They feel for the city, they believe in the city, and they believe that Mumbai Mirror is really truly the publication that addresses the concerns of the city. JWT is our agency of record.
Okay.
One.
Yeah.
Two, when it comes to content, let me tell you that there are not very many people who do content better than Senthil, branded content. He's done that in the past, and I think he's done justice to the subject as well. The newspaper addresses the passionate Mumbaiker.
Okay.
Now, that is a statement which is age agnostic, class agnostic, geography agnostic. At the same time, what we find through our surveys and data is that there is a younger Mumbaiker who seems to be far more involved with this publication.
Okay.
And I am not particularly surprised with that, because you see, Mumbai is a city which you have to live with. It's not just a city you live in. If you understand, in every other city you live in,
Yes,
but Bombay you have to live with, because you have to kind of collide with the city every day. And I think that's why the passion of the Mumbaiker with his city is that much more. And that is where Mumbai Mirror finds its true appeal.
Okay.
It's great. Its particular brand of editorial journalism is different from other papers. And that's why I think people get involved more with Mumbai Mirror.
Lots of people involved actually,
Okay,
and
okay.
again collaborations, like we had the collaboration between the brand team, the creative team, and the editorial team. The making of it, I think we roped in Prashant Godbole,
Okay.
one of my dear friends and legends in photography as well. So he shot a lot of these images that you will see.
Okay.
Most of the still images have been shot by him. And then we dug into the BCCI archives. I mean, I don't think such digging has happened in the recent times.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think we pulled out over 1,000 images of black and white archival images of Bombay
Okay.
and Mumbai, and over the years.
Okay.
And after we interviewed the 5 people, so we spent I think close to a week between all of us, maybe, and Ashwin, and everybody was at every shoot, and with the editor, Minal asking the questions, and I was just getting.
Who shot the video?
We got a cameraman to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, Srinivas is his name. He's not a big cameraman. I mean, it's
Tall,
good.
lanky guy.
No, then
Okay.
lanky, yes, but not tall.
He does a lot of
So he's a professional advertising cameraman.
cameraman.
So sometimes, especially in jobs like this, when you have to, don't know when they're free. They're really 90-year-old people, right? So we were at beck and call. So I was hanging out in Bombay for like close to a month
Oh,
for the
okay.
making of
Yeah,
this project.
yeah, I understand.
So at that point, you can't get like a really top cameraman on the
DOP,
job. He's
absolutely.
waiting for you to. So we got Srinivas, who's is a good cameraman, and of course I had Prashant Godbole with me,
Okay.
who was also there in every shoot. So he was doing the stills, and there was a gentleman called Srinivas who was doing the video, and I was just choreographing the whole scene. But what was interesting was after we shot the 5 people and we heard them out in the whole stories, and the whole story is actually we shot like for more than 6-7 hours. So that much content. We have compressed it to literally to 6 to 7 minutes. So that
But your
it's-
edit must have taken huge
edit
amount of
also
time.
took like a couple of
Well,
hours.
you've dug out from the archives.
So
for so
from
many
the
things.
archives, we went to the and there were a lot of parallel and perpendicular stories. What I mean is,
okay.
like if there is the period of the emergency, which is from 1970 to 1980, all of them have spoken about it, but in different ways.
Oh,
so
okay.
the super cop talks about how he had to during the emergency, how he had to control. Our Pushpa Bhave talks about how she would place pamphlets in her own in colleges and in libraries, and she was playing the the activist fighter from way back, and the Dalit Panther. J.V. Pawar talks about. I mean, a lot about that. That was the period where he came out, from being a nobody to being on the front page of newspapers. So everybody has these little incidents and little insights about time as they travel through it. I mean, that was interesting. But we had to make sure that they all concurred, and the right images were sourced and from the archives, and then we had to work on the images to make them all seem like they're part of the same family, because some of them are really old and some of them different zones. But I think we pulled off a decent job.
The Mirror will carry it in a cover story, and then it will, of course, go on. We'll keep populating it as we go along.
Okay.
Different stories will be added periodically. I think we should look at that now. So this is how we plan to launch it. So the front page of the Mumbai Mirror on 18th Wednesday will be in reverse. This is mine and my team's, but I would leave it at it is, since you asked the earlier question, the agency's idea.
Okay, the agency's idea. Okay.